Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about no code for sales. So the idea here is that we're going to show you how to create a tool for your company with as much customization as you need. And the idea here is to maximize sales, especially for upsells. So it's not for getting new customers, but how do you manage the customers that you already have and you are able to sell even more or even get maybe recommendations and so on with your own client base. So this is about customer management. We built here a dashboard, a few reports with some charts, and also we are going to show you how to create this historical data of touch points and other goals that you can track here on this example. So, Cruz, what's the idea of this app that we built here? What's the kind of problem that we're solving for our clients?
Cool. So the idea here is to have a platform in which you can regularly schedule the next time that you're going to have a meeting to talk with your customer. And in this same tool, you have internal rules which help you maximize, like you said, internal sales. So if there is a opportunity for upsell, the idea is that you can have this information easily. So you only need to look at clients. You can filter them to understand if they have the potential to increase their account or something like that. But there's also the idea here of reducing churn, right? So losing customers. So the idea here is that not only you're working for increasing your revenue, but also decreasing the amount of money you lose due to churns, due to clients being unhappy. So the idea is that your increasing revenue is going to be like sales minus churns, right? So the idea here is that if you, it doesn't matter if you sell a lot if you're losing all of your customers. So you have to strike that balance of increasing sales, of increasing how much each client is paying to you, but you also have to work in this realm of having as little, as few clients leaving your platform or firing your services or anything like that. So the idea here I'm going to show you guys is that this template works around the idea of touch points of when are you going to talk to your customer for the next time. So the problem that this solves is that in this example you're seeing the template, there's only 3 customers, so it's not a lot. So you could easily do this by email, you could do this in any other way. But in an actual company, each account manager is probably going to be dealing with dozens of clients, if not hundreds of clients, each one, right? So if you don't have an organized way of knowing who to talk to, when to schedule a new talk with a particular customer, this is going to be very difficult to handle. So the idea here, this template revolves around the idea of knowing when to talk to your client again, right? And you have this recurring type of meeting in which, depending on their status, and when I say status, I'm talking about if the customer is happy, if he's neutral, or if he's dissatisfied, and depending on a certain kind of internal prediction. And internal prediction here, I'm saying something like, is there opportunity for upsell? Are they stable? Or is there like a threat of downsell or even churn? So this combination, you're going to have internal rules in which you know that you're going to have to change the period, the interval between touch points, right? So if a customer is happy and he has the opportunity for upsell, for an upsell, you're going to want to talk to them like nearly on a weekly basis or in a daily basis. It depends kind of what you're selling, right? Because you don't want to miss that sale. If the customer, they're happy but they're stable, probably they don't want to be bothered that much. So if you talk to them quarterly, this is going to make more sense to them. But if a client is dissatisfied, if they already signaled that they're going to leave, you're going to have a churn, then you're probably going to want to talk to them constantly again, so you can reverse that intention, right? So the idea here is that people who have the opportunity for upsell or churn and downsell, you're going to talk to them more, and this template is going to help you to schedule that and to identify opportunities as well. So the idea here, you can see on the dashboard that I have a Kanban board, and this could also be a list view, but we do Kanban boards because talking to our clients, we know that Kanban boards are one of the more visual ways that people like to see information. In this case, we're doing a Kanban board by status of the client, but this could also be a table, this could be a list view. So here we're seeing all of our clients, and there's a few things going on here. First of all, let me open up a client card. So you can see here that I have some information on this customer. So I have their picture, I have their name, I have a description, I have their email and phone. So I have contact information, and I have two very important bits of information, which is account size. So this is the amount the customer is paying to you right now. This could be monthly, this could be like annual revenue. So this is the current amount of the account, right? And then I have the account potential. So this is going to be a little bit more of a guess, right? But sometimes you talk to a customer and you know that they have the potential to be a way larger account, right? So if you sell users, for example, maybe you're dealing with a customer who has like 5 users, but you know that they have the potential to like expand this to 50 users. They're just validating your product. Or maybe if you're like a marketing agency, they're delegating to you only like the Instagram accounts, or like a very small budget. But if they gain trust in you, they can go from like $5,000 a month to like a $20,000 a month budget. So this is the idea, right? You have this account potential, which is like, where can I get from my current status, right? And one thing that's very interesting that's happening here is that these both are being compared here, right? So I have this kind of like a progress bar on top of the card, which shows me that there's a potential of $3,000, but I'm only currently at $1,000. So there's a lot of space for me to increase in size with this customer. So this is all customer information, right? So this is contact info, this is account size, and so on. And then I have the operational information. Operational information is going to be who's the account manager for this customer, for this account. So it's the person responsible in your company for managing that account. And like I said, we have status, which is happy, neutral, or dissatisfied. And then I have the prediction, which is in the following months or maybe weeks, is this customer going to have an opportunity for upsell? Is he going to remain stable, like they're not going to increase in size, but they're not going to downsell as well? Or they could have like an inclination to have a downsell or to churn altogether, right? So this is what I mean by prediction. So this is kind of like a guesswork of what's going to happen with this client in the following months. And it doesn't have to be guesswork. Sometimes you talk to a client and they're going to say, yeah, in 3 months, I'm just going to like decreasing in size and so on. So it can be guesswork, but it also can be like a very clear intention that they have communicated to you in specific touch points in specific meetings. And also I have here a text with the internal rules for touch points. So this is more of a guideline to account managers. So in your company, you're telling account managers that if the client is happy or neutral, you only have to talk to them like once every 3 months. It doesn't make sense to talk to them that much. You're only going to waste time. They'll even be bothered by you talking to them all the time. But if they're dissatisfied, the idea is that you're going to reduce this to once every month. If you have an opportunity for upselling, then you have to talk to them every week. And you have other rules here. And then basically you're saying that you're always going to adopt the shorter interval in which this customer falls on, right? So maybe they're like happy, they like you, they like your product, they like your services, but it doesn't make sense to them to use the platform anymore, to use our services anymore, because they had like a budget cut or something like that. So they're happy, but they're like a churn prediction. So you're going to talk to them once every week, right? So this is the idea. This is the set of rules that you're going to abide by. And then you have the next touch point, which is the date that you are going to schedule in the future to have a new touch point, right? So if I talk to a customer who is happy and stable today, then I only have to talk to them 3 months from now, right? So goes. So I can schedule it to 3 months in the future. So this is the idea. So this is the part about the customer. I have contact information, I have general information about them, I have account size, and then the operational part, the thing that I'm going to do day to day, is basically schedule the next touch point, update their status and prediction, and based on that, I know when I have to talk to them again. Cool. So having all of this information, I have this calendar which shows me the customers that I'm going to talk to today or in the next few days, right? So in this specific case, like I said, we only have 3 examples here. But the idea here is that if you have like 1,000 customers or maybe like 100 customers, but you only have 2 people managing them, each one of them is going to have 50 customers to take care of. So the calendar is going to be quite handy because they can look at the date and say, okay, I only have like 5 people to talk to today, right? So this calendar is going to show you who you're going to talk to. And if you update the next touch point meeting, it's going to reflect on the calendar. So the idea is that you're always going to do what you're scheduled to do today, and then update the customer information to reschedule them to the future. Okay, so I have a few analytical information here. So I have a chart showing me customers by prediction. So I can see here that I have one customer in the upsell prediction, I have one in the downsell prediction, and one is kind of like maintenance. So they're going to be stable, right? They're not going to change very much. And then I have opportunities and the count of total customers. Opportunities basically is whatever customer I have where the account potential is greater than the account size, right? So for this customer, I have a total opportunity of $450, right? So this is going to get counted here. Maybe you have a customer who is paying more than their total potential or just the same. It's not going to be considered here. And then I have the total customers, right? And just before I get into the touch points, I'm going to show you guys the filters. So if I want to see everyone where I have the opportunity for upsell, I can just click here. And this is going to filter all the information. So I only have one customer for upsell. I only have 2,000 opportunities, right? And then I can add other filters, right? I can search for a specific customer, or I can click on the account manager and select my user. So only the customers where I'm the account manager are going to show here, because right now you can see that I'm in Charles, I'm here in the Andrew card, but for Brenda, it's another account manager, right? So maybe I only want to see things that I have to do, so I can just click here on account manager and select my user. Okay, so let's say that it's finally the day to talk to a specific customer. So in this case, I can see here today's the 20th. So I have Andrew. So I can click here on Andrew. And I can check here and see that next touch point is today. And one thing that I can do here through the card or through the Kanban board, I can click on new touch point. And basically, I'm going to have this open up when I'm in the meeting with the customer, right? So I'm having a Zoom call or something like that. And then I'm going to register everything that happened on the meeting. So I've talked to Andrew. I can see here that he is dissatisfied. If I open his card, I can see here that the prediction is downsell. So we're going to talk about this, and Then I'm going to add a new touch point. So I can just give it like a quick summary of in the title. So discussing reducing account size. For the meeting date, I'm going to select today. And for the meeting summary, I can just keep writing whatever happened today, right? So example. This is a rich text field, so I can have a header, for example, and format things, so I can have a bullet list points. So basically,
And you could
I can
also
just
just copy and paste the transcription of your call with your client if you're using Zoom or something like this. You could also add a link for the Zoom meeting. Maybe you have a sales manager that wants to just review what happened, or a junior salesperson that just wants to understand how that upsell happened. So you can add more fields here, more information regarding the touch point. Also, of course, you could have a meeting summary, like your notes or your thoughts about the meeting, and also the transcription, because it's a different set of information, right? So your perception and what was said that day.
exactly. So it could be a lot of things. Traditionally, people use this to like just take meeting notes. So the most important takeaways. But like Banak said, a lot of people are using AI tools for that, right? Currently, so for example, you're using Zoom or any other kind of meeting app, and they have like AI transcription, and not only it transcripts, but it provides a summary with key points, with a bullet point list. So that's basically what you're going to register in this field. And then you have a to do field in which you can create like tasks for you to do, because maybe there's something relevant, so some like pendency that was discussed, and you have to follow this up on maybe with the client or maybe internally, right? So maybe Andrew is saying that he's going to reduce account size because he doesn't like use a specific feature, or maybe he's reducing account size because there was some other kind of like commercial problem. So you can create tasks here. So for example, check double invoice, duplicate invoice actually with the billing team. So now you have a task for that touch point, and you can click here on save, and this created a new touch point. You can see here for the customer Andrew, and I can open it and get all of the information, and then I can go to the to-do list and say, okay, I've already checked the duplicate invoice with the billing team. I'm going to check this off, and now there's nothing left to do regarding this touch point, right? So I've talked to him. He like um, doesn't want to downsell anymore. He just wanted like a little bit of a commercial, like more like a commercial talk, really. So now he's kind of neutral and stable, and you say, okay, if he's stable, I only have to talk to him in 3 months. And so you can schedule here, and now he's on neutral and he left the calendar. But if I look in the future here, he's here, right? So everything has been updated. So this is the idea. The idea is for you to have a platform in which is really easy for you to see who you have to talk to today, and then like write a touch point note for that specific meeting, and reschedule for the future, and see if there's any action that you have to take for that specific customer. So one other cool thing that we have here is that we have customer reports, because all of this is on databases, right? So if I have to, for example, export all of the touch points, we already have the table here. So you only have to click here on download data, and then you're going to download a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file. So this is interesting because, of course, you wouldn't have to export this. Maybe you just want to export this for a very specific reason, to share this with someone who doesn't have access to your Jasper account, like a consultant or something like that. But the idea here, what's cool about this is that I can now click here on Andrew and see everything that happened to him, right? Every meeting that I had, how spaced were these meetings. So if Andrew ends up like canceling his account or something like that, you can check everything that happened to see if there was anything else that could have been done, if that account manager wasn't diligent enough in preventing that churn. Maybe that there's a couple scenarios in which sometimes account managers are more worried about selling more and not much about churn prevention. Sometimes that has a lot to do with how their commission, right? How their bonuses are structured. So if they only receive bonus when a new customer is like uh, enters, or when there's an upsell, but they don't have like bonuses attached to churns, then they're not going to like care much about churning, right? So you can see if they're not performing their tasks here, because you have the history of everything that happened, including the fact that you have the information of the meeting date, but you also have the information about when the person created the record, right? So maybe a client left, and you look at the meeting date and it's for like 3 months ago, but it was created today. So maybe there's something fishy going on, then you can investigate. But the idea here, on a more operational basis, is that when you get into a scale in which people are going to have to be talking to 10, 20 people a day, you're going to need a platform to organize this. And this is a very simple way to do this, right? And then you can also keep customizing it later. For example, let's activate builder mode. So I'm here, I'm seeing here a Kanban board of status like happy, neutral, and dissatisfied. But one thing that I could do is add conditional color. So I have one more information that I want to see. I don't want to add to the front of the card, which I could do, for example. So let's get the prediction, right? And you can see that it's already being added here. But maybe I want to add a specific color. So if someone has the opportunity for upselling, then I can just add this conditional color. So if prediction is upsell, it's going to color the card green, right? So there you go. And you can see that only Brenda is colored green because she's the only person with the potential for upsell, at least the intention to upsell. So there's a lot of things that you can do to customize this. And the structure of the template is quite simple. If I look at the customer management database, which is the customer record itself, I have a title, which is the customer's name. I have a date for the next touch point. I have email and phone fields. I have a description, which is going to appear right here on the top of the card, right? I have a picture for the customer. I have a multiple users field for the account manager. We're using multiple users here because sometimes there's a customer, depending on the account size, that you have more than one person taking care of. So you can add more than one user here. I have single option fields to indicate the status and the prediction. I have currency fields for account size and account potential. I have, and I'm going to show you guys this, a goal field which compares the two of them, right? So I have here this progress bar which checks account size against account potential. And I have a formula field to see the potential upsell, which is basically just potential minus the size. And I also have a button to add a new touch point. This is a add connected button. And the way it works is if I go to the touch points database, you can see that it's also a very simple database. It's the title of the touch point is a text field for the summary. It's a to-dos field, which allows me to see everything that I have to do, to add like a checklist of items that I have to do. And I have a date for the meeting date. But the most important thing here is that I also have this connection field, right? And I'm going to edit this so you guys can see it. And I have here a n-to-one connection, which means many to one, right? Uh, which is connecting this touch point to a customer in the customer management table. And the reason this is a many to one connection is that connections, they have a direction, and they have like a sort of tree structure, right? So if I think about touch points in customers, I can have many touch points to the same customer. If I had invoices, I could have many invoices to the same customer, and so on. So this is why we're selecting a many to one connection, because a touch point can point to a specific customer. There are different types of connections in Jester. We have many to many, one to one, but like 99% of the time, the correct one to use is many to one. If you're not using it, it probably there's something strange going on with the structure that you're building. There are situations in which that's valid, but like I said, close to 100% of the time, you're going to use many to one, right? And now, because I have this connection, because I say this touch point pertains, it points to this customer there in the customer database, I can have this field here, which is add a new touch point. So it's going to create a new touch point in the touch points database, and it's going to automatically point to this person. So if I click here on this button on the Charles record, it's going to pre-fill it with Charles, right? And the last thing that I want to show you guys is that you guys can see that if I open a record, this is a custom interface. This is not the standard interface for when you open a record inside Jester. So this is customized, and we're using super forms for that. And we're actually using the super form that is contained within the table. So what I mean is, if I'm here in customer management, if I'm in this database, I can click here on edit table and form, and I activated the super form. So if this is deactivated, all that's going to happen is that when you open a record, it's going to use the standard window of Jester, the standard modal for creating stuff, for updating stuff. So it works most of the time. But when you want something a little bit more customized, you want more than one field per row, or you want like sections or pagination, so you want more than one page per form, then you're going to want to use super forms. So I can set up a creation form, an update form, and a chat update form if the record is open by the chat feature inside Jester. So for the creation form, I can edit this, I can edit the custom form, and now you guys can see that I can change the title, like new customer, use this form, add a description. I can select the fields that I want to use, and then I can use the blocks to customize it a little bit further. So you can see that I have a section here for custom information, and this section is going to have a description as well. And then you can see here that I have this blocks for inline, which means that email and phone are going to be on the same row. They're going to be on the same line. So I can customize it a little bit further. So maybe I wanted a new section. Maybe I wanted to add a YouTube video, anything like that that's not a field from the table. I can customize it further. There's a lot of features here, but the idea here is that now this is going to be the standard form for that table. So when I click on new row, it's going to use that form, right? So it's a little bit more customized. And the cool thing about customizing super forms directly in the table is that anytime you create a new component, so I want to use a calendar, I want to use a Kanban board. If I go back to the app, they're all using the form of the table, right? So if I click here, it's going to get that form. Of course, I could have a different form for the calendar specifically. This is also customizable. But the idea here is that if I customize the forms in the tables themselves, I can just replicate, I can just use them in whichever component that I use, right? So this makes it a lot easier because I don't have to set up a new form every time I create a new component, right? So I think that's it. Banak, I don't know if you have anything that you want to show them.
No, that's great. The idea here is to show this as a customer management app. We are going to also make this available on the template store. And if you guys have any requests or questions, please send to us. And we will be back here next week with another example on how to build tools for your company using no code. See you guys.